This is a long-term review of my BMW 310 GS, which has been with me for the last 2 years. In case you haven't watched my first review, do check it out, as this review will be focused more on what to expect living with the 310 GS. Since I covered all my likes and dislikes in the first review, this is my experience of how I managed to ignore the dislikes and appreciate this bike better. So I leave it to you to decide if you can ignore the flaws and learn to live with it as well, just like me. Firstly, I've always been smitten by how good this bike looks. Even today, I feel this is the best looking ADV in its segment. The sheer presence of it, with best-in-class build quality, makes it stand out even next to a superbike. I still have to make unaware people believe that it's just a 300cc. Over the years, I've learned to look past the downsides of this engine. Once you're set with a good pair of riding gloves and helmet, the vibrations and clatter are not very discernible. But there is no ignoring the average top-end performance of a race-derived engine. Looking towards the brighter side, the engine opens to a very racy exhaust note above the 6000 RPM mark, after which it feels surprisingly nicer to rev. To understand this engine, you have to constantly push it to red line before shifting, as that's when the racing DNA shines. Both you and your bike will feel the happiest when you ring the throttle and unleash everything it has every single time. Suspension is still best in class, and more than for touring, I love it for city commutes, especially in a metropolitan city like Chennai, which does need crowdfunding for good roads, I guess. Hop onto the bike, forget bad roads, no road or any road, as this bike insulates you from literally everything. The tires are Metzeller's and they continue to inspire confidence on all road conditions, but I haven't tried off-roading with it. The headlamp is definitely best in segment, as despite the limited throw, it lights up most of the road closer to you. Seats are super comfortable and there's no pressure on your tailbone because of the posture this bike allows you to maintain. However, because of its soft nature, you do feel sunken at times, but you'll get used to it in no time. All of these put together, touring on the Baby GS is going to be as comfortable as it gets. You have all the options from top boxes, saddle stays to panniers for planning your trip. Good luggage option lets you enjoy your trip rather than constantly having to worry about your luggage. Service experience from BMW Motorrad has always been top-notch despite being expensive. An annual service with basic checks, oil and filter change, brake fluid replacement will cost you around 9,000 bucks. So that's what the badge entails, and I've made my peace with it. So it does look like I'm really happy with this motorcycle, isn't it? That's because I've saved the disappointment I still can't get over for the last. Frankly, the below average top end performance and unrefined low end doesn't bother me anymore. But what bothers me is its lethargic braking. The brakes just don't have the bite for sudden stops, and I found my heart in my mouth numerous times over the last 2 years. The brakes just can't handle any sudden inputs and fail to stop with ABS intervening every time you pull the lever hard. The lever feel is wooden, and there is this constant anxiety of facing these situations every single time. When the engine wants you to redline it, the brakes are just not up for it. Together both of them make a deadly combo, pun intended. And when you want to take things slow, the engine starts complaining with that clattery note. Paradoxical character at its best. So I hope I've given you guys a sum of what to expect if your heart is set on the 310 GS. I have taken the price of acquisition out of the equation, as it's pretty much in the same ballpark of its competitors. But do look out for the price of maintenance. If you ask me for an opinion now, I would say wait for an upgrade from BMW or TVS. If not on the engine, at least on the braking front. Until then, see you next time. Happy motorcycling.